Hi. I have to start off by saying that we're 50 years old now.
50 episodes old.
Yeah.
50 years old.
Well,
the dog doesn't care either, by the way.
That dog doesn't care. So yeah, this is episode 50. That's a lot of episodes. I didn't think we were making it
almost a year.
Almost a year, exactly, yeah.
Well, it is a year because, we weren't live a couple weeks, but
yeah. So, I think we should start off by saying Happy Easter to everyone. It is Easter weekend.
Of which the children asked me now. So, if it's a religious holiday, Mom, how did we get bunnies? Don't know. Still don't really understand the bunny and the eggs and I don't really get it.
Well, it's
whatever.
That movie Hop with James Marsden.
I'm cool with the movie Hop. I love the movie Hop.
He poops out Easter eggs. Jelly beans, yes. That's funny. So you got a package in the mail today.
I did.
You should open it.
I will. I'm glad that I know what is in it already, but
What's that?
I have to share what. So when we were at what were we at? Oh, Sci-Fi Bartow. We were at Sci-Fi Bartow. Brian bought a gift certificate to Wild Bill's. And they were selling them for super cheap. So it was like a $25 gift certificate for like $10. $10. So here's Wild Bill's. And I love their mugs, but I love this one more because, I love this one more now because Brian's like, it's the Pride mug, but I don't care because this is the mug. It has a unicorn. It is my favorite color. So I'm all about it right now. So it was one of the best presents that he'd given me because, he's Brian and stop it. Nobody's talking to you. Shh.
Dingo's excited too.
Apparently, about my coffee mug.
Yeah. And so the other day I got a mystery box that I opened.
Yes, it was a mystery box because I didn't know it was coming. Come here.
But it had 2 pops and 2 action figures. The kids claimed the 2 action figures. The 2 action figures were Count Dooku and Deadpool. So the boys were excited to have those. But here are the mystery pops that came in there.
I'm not even going to begin.
Super Saiyan Gohan, which is
to try to figure that out.
Goku's son growing up. And then from the Amazon show Good Omens, it's the Chase figure. He's holding an ice cream instead of a book. The regular one, he's just holding a book.
So whoever can figure out how to say that name. Aziraphale? Aziraphale? I don't know. Angel names are very difficult.
Odie says nice cup.
Thank you. Love my unicorn cups.
And then I got this one today in the mail.
I swear to God, this dog.
So there's a YouTuber called Skittle Rampage, and he has a Facebook group where it's just a bunch of Funko people, buy, sell, trading, just making friends and stuff, talking about Funko Pops and teaching about the real against the fakes. But I received this one. I'm collecting this series.
Not received. You bought.
I bought.
From another person on the group who knew how to package the stuff, and it was beautiful. So thank you to whoever it was.
His name's Brian.
Now maybe you'll stop buying some for a while. You know this is why people watch, right?
Yes. The back and forth.
I'm sorry.
So, what about this awesome shirt you're wearing?
I'm tired. The bank called on fraud, and I had to go get a new card. So, this is my new Ed shirt.
Earn your scars.
Earn your scars. I've earned all mine. Mostly because most of them are my fault.
So, what's in the box? What's in the box? We need to see what's
in the box. Comment if you know where that movie. What movie that's from? What's in the box? I can't do it. Like I can. Yeah, I can't do it. I know it's from. I can hear him say it in my head.
I am going to.
Because I have seen that word or that movie only 3 times because it does terrify me every time I watch it. It's hard to watch. Thank you, Odie. I got to catch some of Mark's show this morning. It was kind of funny. Watched the whole segment about Johnny Quest, and then I had to go figure out my card, so I missed the rest, but I'm kind of sad. So this is from our friend Rose, who is a friend of the show and a friend of HWWS Web Show, and is just the coolest person ever. So she sent a message to Brian, I think, and asked if we were looking for this pop. I didn't know it existed, of course, but she said yes, and so she sent it. So this is my Edge Pop, and I'm trying very hard not to get involved, but I believe I'm involved now. So it's the Rated R Superstar. So,
That's cool.
Very, very thankful to Rose. Your package will be in the mail very soon. With the card problem, I didn't get a chance to get to the post office this morning. So
yeah, the post office by us at least closes at noon.
No, the post office by us. You can plug this in. The post office by us isn't open on Saturdays. Remember?
Oh, that's right.
And so I would have had to drive to, I think, North Lakeland. See how prepared we were for the show this morning. Sheesh. So what was I saying? Oh, it closes. It's not open on Saturday. So the one that would have been by us is open till noon. And yeah, I would have never made it. So anyways.
That's a cool pop though.
It's a cool pop. I like it. I don't think Edge needed to be any cuter, but I'm good with that.
I mean, I'm looking here. They nailed the whole 6-pack and his tattoo.
The eyebrows. They got the eyebrows right too. I don't know if you can see the tattoo.
But you can see the one tattoo.
So I'm very thankful. Thank you, Rose. And what else is there to talk about today?
Okay.
It's a slow news day, I guess.
It is a slow, but let's talk about something we missed last week, which was movie theaters.
Hold on just a second.
Okay.
We are going to shout out to Willow because Willow's not with us today because she spent the day with her mom because it was her mom's birthday week this week.
So happy birthday, Willow's mom. Happy birthday,
Willow's mom. And then I don't think there was really a plan in the works. I don't think he did his job this week.
No.
However, on Facebook, I've been catching flack for my job, so this is fun stuff.
Yes, but
I'll just leave it like that and just close my. What the hell is wrong? Like, I can't.
There you go. Short arm.
Sit in the shot. Like that's half your problem. That's how you usually are.
But
drink some coffee.
Yeah, drink in your nice unicorn mug.
Awesome mug.
It's a heavy mug
Giant.
too.
It's freaking giant too.
We should actually show them what came with it. I'm gonna grab that.
Because it's super exciting.
It is.
It's a 12-pack cans. It's a 12-pack of cans of soda. No. Yeah, 12-pack.
But this company is cool. They're at conventions all over the U.S.
I said Wild Bill's. Wild Bill's is all over the place. And so apparently on their website, you can order different kinds of soda. So this is Blast and Butterscotch. And the goal is to mix it with vanilla ice cream and make our own butterbeer. So, yay.
Yeah. All right. So a topic last week that I
we
had
forgot.
Yeah, we had Hennessy on and it started talking about air guitar and
We talked about all kinds of stuff last week.
Yeah.
It was insane. I don't even think we were on topic.
like we ever are.
Like we ever are.
But movie theaters are opening
This is
back
a rough estimate of what our show might be about.
Exactly. So Los Angeles, California and New York opened their theaters. And Regal decided to open their theaters this month. So is that exciting to you that movie theaters are opening? Do you think people are going to go back out?
I think people are going to go back out. I think we're tired. I think hi Ryan. I think a lot of people are just we're tired of being cooped up. We need to have our lives back. And I'm not, I don't know. Nobody yelled at me in the comments the last time I said this, but I think that at this point we all need to, I know we don't have herd immunity yet and blah, blah, blah. And I know science and everything. I get it. I can read. I am a smart individual, but I just told you where Willow was.
He must have just joined.
So Willow is spending the day with her mommy. Because it was her birthday this past week, along with her cat, who I don't remember the name, but he's 17. So,
But movie theaters.
but I think people will go back out. If not right away for like new releases, I think they would go out to catch the stuff that we wish we could have seen. Like, I would be all about catching, an original Star Wars trilogy on the big screen, or an Indiana Jones movie, even though I've seen them 1.5 million times.
But to actually properly see them.
But to see it on the big screen, just because I never had a chance to. I think people are getting ready to come back out. And I'm excited. I know that there's a lot of people that are having conversations about masks and all this stuff. And I understand. I also understand that there are good reasons why we need to do that. I have absolutely no problem with any of that. It's just that we want to take back some of our time. If we're going to be protected enough under a mask, I think people come back out. So, hi Sonia, we're all good here. Just lazy Saturday morning. I didn't have to work, so it's really weird. Although I did have to go get a new card at the bank because somebody tried to defraud my card. I don't know how much you spent, and I don't think I want to know. Right?
No, it wasn't too bad.
I don't believe him. But anyways. If I wanted to get really serious about it, I could look on the bank account. It's not like he's hiding it from me.
Right. I guess we should ask Ryan how much did he spend on action figures
how much
and
did you spend
collectibles and
this
stuff.
week? Did you get any haul? Did you get a goodie bag of your own?
Did you see he finally framed his poster?
I did. It looks really nice.
We have posters too, and eventually when we move,
when there's wall space, we'll put them up again.
We have all kinds of posters. But there's one poster you don't want hung up, even though I love it. It's the Freddy versus Jason one.
I guess it can go on the back side of the door somewhere. Nah, I'm sorry. It's not happening.
I invited Ryan to the Skittle Rampage fun group.
You're trying to bankrupt me. If I gotta go down with him, somebody else can come down with us. Yeah, Josh's paintings are amazing. We have another one too. I have another tree.
The blue one's over there.
I have a small blue tree and a princess, a Sleeping Beauty, and a Prince Philip.
Yeah, where it's like if you put them, it makes one face. He did a line of those. I was trying to remember what the other ones. Did he do he do like Ariel and Eric?
He did a few, and then he said, if you want to commission somebody, I said, well, can you do Aurora and Philip? And he was like, yeah. He's just awesome. So
yeah. So we should ask everyone. Oh yeah, Happy Autism Awareness Month. Happy April. Mm-hmm. So we should ask everyone what they think of movie theaters. Do they feel that it's safe enough to go back to movie theaters?
Do you think we're ready to open up? Do you think we're ready to share that kind of space?
Yeah, and remember, they're not full capacity. They're
like
spacing them out.
30. It's like 30%, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which at this point, I don't think will hurt anybody. I think it'll only help. Because a lot of people, I mean, there are some movies you want to see with the masses, but there are some movies you enjoy that empty theater. Like, I don't know. I guess a scary movie, I want to watch it with a bunch of other people so I can,
Like scream when they scream?
Yeah. So unfortunately, the dog is sitting next to me because I have food on the table. And that's why he's barking at me, because God forbid, this 75-pound dog thinks that he doesn't eat enough. And since he wants to eat my chocolate life that's on the table, I'm wondering how much chocolate is really in this life.
Right. So let's talk about something that we watched this week. We won't talk much about it because I'll be joining Ryan tomorrow. Godzilla vs. Kong. I thought it was a good movie.
So, well, Odie says that she has her vaccination, and with her mask, she'll go back to the movie theater. So, I mean, I think that the more people are vaccinated and the more people are, getting there, I think we'll start to see an uptick in people going out and doing things like that again. Right. And maybe we'll save the business.
Right. I know there's been a lot of people talking, well, we've kind of been getting, what's the word? Spoiled with the stuff showing up on streaming. Are people going to just not want to go back to theaters because they're like, we can get it at home now?
I don't think that's true, because I think when theaters open, I don't think those deals will still be there. Like, putting it on streaming was a means to an end. So now that this is not an issue anymore, or that they're opening and there's going to be places to release films to, I mean, we'll see maybe that time periods will extend. But I have a feeling that those so
they'll be in theaters shorter.
No, they'll be in theaters longer to make the money at the theaters, and then they'll show up on streaming after that. But there'd be that whole, I don't think they're going to just drop it the same day. I don't think they're going to continue to do that, because that would be silly. Like, people are going to the theaters because they're ready to go to theaters. If the masses could go to the theaters, I think more people would be ready to go to the theaters. And we don't have a theater here that's open. Do we?
Well, the Cinemark is open, but I mean,
shush.
It's showing some of the new stuff that's out, but then it's showing some of the old stuff. But then you can also
rent a theater, which we tried to do, and none of our friends wanted to do that with us.
Yeah, so they have new releases. Well, this is Cinemark.
None of our friends.
I don't know how much it is for AMC. I think it's the same price, but Cinemark, for the newer films, you can rent a theater for $150 and have up to 20 people. So that's $8 a pop. Who wouldn't want to have a theater? And then you're not in there with strangers. You're in there with people you know.
Right. And then it's only what? $150, $8 a pop. That's really only about, will you shut up? It's really only about 20 people in the theater. If each little pod of your group wanted to, sit farther apart, they could.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a 20-seat theater and you got 20 people crammed together like sardines. I'm going to let the dog out.
Yeah. But the new release films were $150, and then the older catalog films were $99. I was looking at some of the older films. They had Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which I think that would have been funny to go see in a movie theater. There was a few other. Oh, Clue. Clue was one of the old films.
I think I would see that on the big screen. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, since they came out in 1986. We were 6 when that came out.
I did not see it when I was 6.
No, I
sadly, the other movie that he was in that came out when I was 6, I did see. Oops.
No, you were 10 when that movie came out.
Came out in 1987.
90.
No, it did not. Was I that much of a wiener that I couldn't watch it until I was 10? Never mind. Don't answer that question. It's true. I was. I still am. That's why the Freddy versus Jason poster is not allowed to go up in the house.
Right. Yeah. But the theater versus home is totally different. Yeah, we can just sit on our couch and just have a remote and pick whatever we want, but a movie theater is a different experience.
And I think there are certain movies you have to have in that experience, like Kong versus Godzilla, which is what we're going to talk about next. Yeah. I think that was something that we needed to see in the theater. But I enjoyed it at home because we have surround sound and a really big TV, so I don't really care because then aside from the kids fighting, I guess, but it was, I don't know. I'm not a cinephile like you. Like, I'm not like this movie has to be watched on the big screen, and I'm not like that. I just want to watch the movie and have a good time.
Right.
Unless I'm going to cry, then I want to watch it in the privacy of my own home because I ugly cry.
Yeah, I still remember when we saw Captain Marvel and you were just like...
Oh, Jesus. It was terrible.
Oh, and Endgame.
And I walked out.
And Infinity War.
Yeah, don't make a list of all the movies I've cried through. No, I think that we're going to see that change. And hopefully, because if that comes back, I think people will be more comfortable, and people are getting more comfortable traveling now. So I think that they'll be more comfortable sitting in a movie theater.
Yeah. So when movie theaters opening back up, is there something that is coming out that you look forward to seeing?
I legitimately don't know what's coming out. Why did you put it down there?
Well, we have Shang-Chi's coming out. Black Widow?
Well, no, I just want to see Shang-Chi. I don't care where I see it.
You don't care where you see it?
No. I guess maybe I do care, but I don't care. Like, I just want to see it. Same with Black Widow. We waited a really long time. I just kind of want to see it. And truth be told, I enjoy the stuff that's been on Disney Plus. I don't. Well, we don't speak Urdu, Sonia, so I don't know how I can help. We're English speakers, so I'm sorry. The dog is going to try to break down the door.
Yeah.
But I'm going to leave him out there because.
But, so Godzilla vs. Kong, I thought was everything it should have been.
I do too. And as much as everybody says that the human parts were the least.
Hey, Mom.
If you let him in, you're going to have to put him somewhere. Because he's driving me crazy. So take him in the room.
I want to know. Can I?
No, go get your own.
I don't know. It's not charged.
It's
right
over there. The charger is over there. Go get the charger.
So everybody's complaining that the human parts are weak.
Well, Okay, but it's not about the humans.
It's a giant monster movie.
It's a monster movie. Take it for what it is. And honestly, I don't really feel like they were all that weak. I mean, as far as character development, okay. But what you want out of an action-filled monster sequence, you're going to take away from the character development of the humans. Because what they say is developing the characters of both Godzilla and Kong. So that's what it is. Although I think the little girl steals the show. Like, we all love Millie Bobby Brown and we all love Alexander Skarsgård, but let's be honest, little girl, I have no idea what her name is. She steals the show.
She's cute too.
So, and that's pretty much all we can say about that because of spoilers.
Right.
We refuse to spoil the movie for people who have not seen it.
Right. But tomorrow I'll be joining the nerd culture team, Ryan and Alan.
They will review and speak about the film.
Yes. And our new friend Alan from Hawaii.
Shut up.
We reviewed that trailer when it came out and we're blown away.
And I'm glad you guys liked it. I liked it for exactly what it was. I mean, King Kong is sweet. I like him.
But I thought you always liked King Kong.
I always had a soft spot for him. He's a primate.
Misunderstood. Just wanted to be left alone.
There's very sweet qualities about gorillas.
Right. So, next subject. And I don't even know how to begin with this. Broken Skull Sessions. You're a huge fan of that. It was just announced that Chris Jericho, right after the second night of WrestleMania, is going to be on Broken Skull Sessions. And people are like, well, he's a wrestler. Shouldn't he be on there talking about wrestling? Yeah, the thing is, he works for AEW. And this is going to be airing on, well, the WWE Network internationally, but Peacock here in the United States. I don't think this has ever happened before where a wrestler who's active for another company has been on WWE.
1 second. Talk about
second.
Something else.
As she's taking care of the dog. So yeah, Chris Jericho on the Broken Skull Sessions. I mean, Chris Jericho has had a crazy, epic career. And wherever he's been, he's always reinvented himself.
Well, I think what a lot of the turmoil comes around is whatever is the comments that he has made previously on his podcast and on in general. Now, once you leave a company, you should be allowed to speak freely unless you have an order not to. Sure. And he only talked about the issues with gimmicks and how things may or may not be completely, fair as far as what your gimmick is and whether you get to change it or not.
But he's never had issues with Vince.
And the thing is that's the whole thing. Like he blasted the business as far as that was the concern, and then not being progressive as far as trying to be creative and reinvent yourself when things get stale. Because I think we all need to do that. Like, we all kind of need to examine what's important to us every time we feel like something's stagnant. Now, Chris Jericho is the king of this, at least in my opinion. And so when we think about that in general, I think that people assume that because he said that, there must be bad blood. And I kind of feel like that's what everybody, like, anytime somebody says that, what did there's been plenty of people that said, he said this about us or whatever. I think it was in a music documentary we just watched not too long ago when he said, well, so-and-so didn't like what we did, 10 years ago. And, it was Westlife, as a matter of fact. Right. And they were talking about Gary Barlow. So it's like, he might have said something 20 years ago or 10 years ago or 5 minutes ago, and it not necessarily mean that. It just was something they said based on what they knew at the time.
Right, exactly.
So I feel like they've never said they were going to close things off. If you sign a contract with somebody, you adhere to the contract. But if there's nothing in his contract that says that he can not appear on a podcast, if that's not in his contract, then he has every right to appear on whatever the hell podcast he wants to.
Right. And
it's if he's being given the microphone to speak freely about those things, then he has that right. Because Cody Rhodes and the Khan brothers probably already know that that's a thing. They already had a conversation about it. So are there things that are off limits? Maybe there are. But then again, maybe there aren't. And maybe, because it's Stone Cold, he's been given a free...
Yeah, like Steve Austin had to actually text Vince twice. Because he asked Vince if Vince would be okay with it, and Vince had replied, said, "Yeah, go ahead." And Steve Austin didn't even think that Vince understood, so he texted him back and said, "Are you sure?" And Vince replied back, "Yeah, it's okay." The thing is, Vince did say that if people were active with other companies, they didn't want them on WWE television or products, whatever. Just is a business decision.
But that's directly related to contract breaches and the terminology in their contract. So maybe there is no terminology.
Yeah,
with express consent, then they probably don't have to worry about that. I don't know what anybody's contract looks like, and neither do we. Neither does anybody. So
right.
If you listen to what they've said, like both the Khan brothers and Cody Rhodes and Triple H have all said, we're here to do business. And I think the guys in New Japan have all said that. So if there's a place where they're going to open the lines of communication, it's talking to these people. And I think that that's important because the amount of information you got when it was... What is this?
I don't know.
What did you do?
It's making me do that.
No, it doesn't. I haven't even checked my... Will you calm down a second? Good Lord.
But yeah, I think this is going to be probably the most watched episode of Broken Skull Sessions. I mean, the last one was with Randy Orton.
Since Randy Orton and Undertaker. I think those were two of the really highly anticipated ones.
Right. But now the thing is, I know Austin's going to talk about the career, but I mean, the elephant in the room is, will Austin talk about what Jericho's been doing since he's left WWE all the way up until now? So sure, he'll be talking about Fozzy, of course. I mean, because that has nothing to do with wrestling. That's his band. But the elephant in the room is, will AEW be brought up?
Squirrel, dingo, squirrel. The squirrel.
He's not going to go chase the squirrel. He's not going to go outside.
He's not going to go in there, Brighton. Just stay in here and annoy the crap out of me.
Yeah, so this is definitely going to be something I'm going to watch just to hear the stories that Jericho is going to tell Austin. As you're trying to figure something out over here.
No, because nobody wants anything until we're on our show.
I know, they can't leave us alone.
Because I didn't know.
But anyways, what do you guys think? If you're wrestling fans, what do you think about Chris Jericho being on Broken Skull Sessions with Stone Cold Steve Austin? Are you looking forward to it? Do you think this is an interesting move by both AEW and WWE? Because something tells me that if both owners are okay with it, then there must be something more than what's out there that's being reported.
But it's been said, like Triple H said it on the podcast this morning, Inside the Ropes. He said some people assume the very worst about things that happen. When a contract is over, people just sometimes assume that bad things have happened. Well, sometimes it's just they wanted to go do something new. Doesn't have to be bad blood. It just means that they need some new scenery. Why is that a thing? Like I know it's unheard of for people sometimes to leave a job, but why would you stay if you're looking for something new? You want to try something new. You're not going to stay where things are old. Like,
well, it's kind of like in the music business when, people change record labels, right?
well, and that comes right down to how many albums they had in the contract. Like, when your contract is over, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to re-sign in order to. I mean, we just assume we assume, and based on comments. But this is not really surprising because Bret Hart is not ever apologized for the things he said. He truly has stood by the things, but they've managed to work it out, and he showed up on the Broken Skull session too.
Yeah.
So I don't think that. I think what we assume happens is so much more than what actually happens. I don't feel like
that's what wrestling fans do.
We have to assume that just because they're fighting in the ring, they don't get along backstage and they don't respect it.
I mean that does happen.
There are some, but in most cases, like if you go back and you watch the match just because Randy Orton was on there last time, if you watch the match between he and Undertaker, and Undertaker came back and said, "You're gonna get your receipt, don't worry," and then later on, you've worked with this person multiple times. You kind of see, that it comes down to respect. It comes down to whether people respect each other enough to treat each other like they're, professionals.
Yeah.
Doing the job that they're doing.
And it's funny you bring up Undertaker and Randy Orton. Jericho's the only one that made Taker almost break character. And Jericho posted it on his Facebook page and Twitter account. It's a photo. It's a selfie, and Taker's there, and he's slightly smirking in the background, but you can see the ropes. It was like in the ring.
Well, and I think that that's a testament to the business itself and how important it was to Undertaker. But to keep that. But I think there's there's a little bit of humanity we want to see sometimes, and maybe that's why he was so successful, is because he didn't. Like, he kept all of those things separate, and I think that's glorious. I think you have to work how it works.
I see what you did there. That's glorious.
Not on purpose, but
oh my god.
You see The Miz, on his show with Maurice, and you see the Bella Twins, and you see, John Cena in these other movies, and you've seen John Cena on the Bella Twins at the show. So you see people outside of the ring now more than we did before. So the idea of their ridiculous, gimmicks and the storylines that they tell, you see that some of them aren't real. Although it is funny to watch who's friends with who, because it's hilarious, I think.
Yeah. So, I'm just looking at some of the other comments here.
Why can't we see them?
They're
from other streams.
Well, it's from your page, but I can fix that for next time. But Willow says that she watched Wonder Woman 84, and she says it would have been much better on a big screen.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And as much crap as that movie got, it just call it what it was. It wasn't really a Wonder Woman movie. It was an 80s movie. It was a love letter to the 80s. And honestly, if you really think about it, it was really about the origin story. Like, is she willing to give it all up? That's really what that was about. But I will not talk about that right now because that's not what we're talking about.
Exactly. So since we're talking about Chris Jericho and Steve Austin's podcast, do you have a favorite, time period of Jericho? Do you have a favorite memory from the time that you've been watching wrestling?
Y2J, of course.
When he made his debut?
I always loved, from the time he made his debut in WWE to the time, that whole era that this is Jericho or Raw is Jericho and the Ayatollah of rock and roll. I just think that was some of the greatest stuff he did on the mic. And it was kind of in his heyday, really. I mean, like he relies a lot more on being on the mic, I think, than really being in the ring. I didn't mind the list stuff. I didn't mind his whatever the show was he had in the ring.
Oh, with the Jericho-tron behind him, yeah.
And I get it. Like he was always reinventing himself too, but I guess like for me it was that time period. Just the sparkly shirts and the weird ponytail on his head, and you love to hate him because he was that kind of person. He was that earworm that got inside your head, and I mean we enjoyed it because you didn't know what was going to come out of his mouth.
So what stories are you looking? Because when you break down his career, you have his early career, then you have when he was in WCW, and then when he left WCW in the Y2J, then he left WWE the first time, and then that's when he came back with the shorter hair and the sparkly jacket
and the list and all that.
The list, yeah. What part of his career are you most looking forward to, like the stories to hear?
Probably after he came back. Because after he came back, he was one of those guys that people were looking at to be that role model. And I always kind of, I don't know, I'm a sucker for those stories, I'm a sucker for, when we watched Randy Orton's thing and he talked about all the people that, basically paved the way for him. And I just really like those stories. Yeah.
When you were watching Randy Orton, like you always thought, oh, he's just Cowboy Bob's son.
Oh my God,
you thought it was handed to him.
I was the worst critic as far as you're a third generation wrestler. You're riding the coattails of everybody else's popularity. Everybody, just assumes that you're good, and he really talked about how difficult it was to do that himself and to try and say, yeah, it was there for me, but I wanted to prove that I belonged there. And I was like, you don't hear people talk about that very often. You hear people say, yeah, they let me do whatever, but you never hear them talk about how important it was for them to live up to whatever it was. Yeah. And it was really, without giving away a lot of the stuff that had happened in his personal life and a lot of those problems. I think he really talked very sensibly about the business and how
he did wasn't a plan. He did talk about those without talking about that, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, he said I screwed up. Like there are bad things that happen, and I think that when you think about that in general, because I was like, oh, it's Randy Orton. It's like he's so full of himself. He's so this. He's so that. But the longer you watch wrestling, the more you realize that character. They should stick with what they're good at. And you love to hate Randy Orton. Like you just do. Like if he was a good guy, if he was a face, what would he do? Like the magic would be gone.
Right.
Yeah.
Is this what makes Steve Austin's podcast like, because he holds no punches. He tells you that he kind of has a script, but he doesn't.
I did not know that he could have had that he was going to have as good a podcast as it was. Like even the first episodes where they weren't as hard hitting, they were good. He asked good questions and he kept the stories going, and he kept the, he put people back on track. And I think that if they didn't respect him and they didn't feel comfortable with him to tell those stories, it was funny because Randy Orton says, well, I didn't think you liked me. Like, I didn't think you were a Randy Orton guy. Like, I think that kind of goes to show you what we were talking about earlier in the episode is like, if a guy, when you say something about somebody, you assume that's how they're going to feel all the time. But when they finally see what you're made of or something about it, then they can kind of change their opinions and say, oh, well, now I know this. And I think that a lot of that is a testament to the years that Austin spent in the business, but also the business model that he made up for himself, because he's not in the ring anymore, but he's still on the network and he is still relevant. So that's got to be huge, like.
Yeah, and those are just the wrestling interviews. Outside of the network, he interviews actors and athletes and
Right.
business like speakers and stuff.
Well, and he has his own line of things. He has his own brewery. He has, so there's a whole set of like he has to find a way to make the world work for him after wrestling is over. Yeah. And I think he's managed to do that really well. As does a lot of the guys that have left and continue to be relevant.
Right.
Like, I know that sounds terrible to say. Like, there are some of them that are still there, but they're irrelevant because they're just hanging on and they don't really offer much. But, they do. He offers a lot to telling the stories of these guys and hearing stories that he wasn't there for. Like, I think he did an amazing job because a lot of Randy Orton's career has happened post Stone Cold. So it's just interesting to hear him tell those stories.
Yeah. So with Jericho,
I do want to see how much of it's he pulls no punches to really say what he wants to say. I wonder how much would be censored and how much will be something he gets to say freely. Like, is he speaking freely like Bret Hart did? Like I think Bret Hart was pretty honest about how he felt when those things happened.
Right. I want to know, because this is going to be brought up. It's Jericho always talks about he's the only wrestler that beat Steve Austin and The Rock in the same night to become the undisputed champion. Mm-hmm. I want to hear a little bit more behind the scenes of that. I want to hear just before Jericho left WCW. I want to hear like what was going on there, what was the final nail in the coffin for him to say, I'm out of here.
Jump.
I mean, and like to this day, he's had probably the best, in my opinion, the best debut ever. I mean, interrupting The Rock.
And holding his own.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that probably a lot of people wouldn't have wanted to interrupt The Rock because what do you got? Like,
I mean, The Rock was already out there doing a good promo.
Turn yourself sideways and, it's just not going to work. Like, how do you deal with the whole candy ass and jabroni and you're going to, yeah, he's fast talking and he really can think on his feet. I mean, like, that is a testament to people on the mic. Like, but that's what I'm saying. You get to be who you are.
Yeah.
Like, I think that growing up the way The Rock did, that's how he adapted his character. He had a wrestling dad. He had a wrestling family. He had, he learned how to do those things. And those were things that he was good at. And they were very much who he was.
But so
Randy Orton, I think he stays off the mic because just he wants what he has to say to mean something.
Yeah.
Guys like, Drew McIntyre who have gotten better, but still don't spend much time on the mic.
Right.
I mean, Undertaker had an entire career where he didn't spend much time on the rest in peace. And that's pretty much all he said.
Yeah. I mean, when he was with Paul Bearer was the mic guy. He was really good.
But see, that's the whole thing. Like, that was, if you let people develop their characters and you let people have what they have, they become the people that you want them to be. Like The Miz, very much that fast talking, like sly. He is just, that's the way he is. And you can kind of see it in his show. So
that's the way he was pretty much when he was on The Real World.
Yeah. I mean, so if you let people do that, if you let people have that, then I think that they become better. Like, I think Roman Reigns is a better heel.
Yeah. So
I know
Paul Heyman's bringing
too, but
Paul Heyman's bringing the best out of Roman, I think.
But he really is pushing him to be the best. And I think that that if you're a face and that's what you're good at, that's what you're gonna be good at. And that's what you're gonna revert, maybe to revitalize something, that's what you might be. But when the pendulum swings the other way, you have to realize that you're always gonna be a better heel than a face.
Right.
Like, unless you're that rare person who can play both.
And that's the question about Cena, because people wanted Cena to turn heel. Hell, I think Cena kind of wanted to turn heel, but
right then at the time, like, he could be both, but at the time, would it have been the right time? Like, I don't think so. I think he was at the top of the Make-A-Wish. I think he was at the top of,
t-shirt sales.
I think it would have ended a lot of that run. So I think it's probably better that they didn't. And I think when it comes to kids, like, he might have a messed up situation, like with women. To say that without saying that.
Speaking of Broken Skull Sessions, that would be a good episode to hear Cena on there.
Yeah, but I think it's a little while coming.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be for a while. But, like, I think in general, like, when you're good at heel, you're a good heel. You probably should stay that way. And I do think that Paul Heyman is bringing the best out in Roman. Even though I'm just like, sometimes I want to just punch him. But that's apparently he's doing his job then.
Exactly. Well, apparently in the business, whether you're a face or a heel, if you're being talked about, you're doing it. You're doing your business.
You're getting over. So, and that's what's important.
So this episode airs on the second night of WrestleMania, which is April 11th, I believe. Right after WrestleMania, the Broken Skull Sessions will air on Peacock in the U.S. and WWE Network internationally.
I am kind of jealous now, like since we talked to Hennessy last week, and he was like, I'm going to WrestleMania. I was like, damn. Wish there'd been cheap tickets to pick up. I don't know, there had been cheap tickets. They weren't really cheap. The cheapest cheap ticket wasn't really cheap, but it would have been interesting to just be there. WrestleMania in general
is a bucket list item.
Is a thing. But, WrestleMania coming out of a pandemic, like, how do you... I don't think you can change that. Like, that's a thing that's only going to happen in a finite universe.
Yeah. So before we move on to the next topic, then do you think WrestleMania is going to do it better than the Super Bowl? I mean, I thought the Super Bowl, they had live crowd.
I think that from the very beginning, they've been trying really hard to do what they were supposed to do as far as following CDC guidelines. And I think that it is outside. It is in a big stadium. They are only selling a certain amount of tickets. People are going to be, staggered and, pop in like little pods. I think that they'll do fine.
They'll do fine. Yeah.
And also, like, I think the universe, like the WWE universe, is different. Like, they're not like the Super Bowl going crowd. They're different. And they're different than they were 20 years ago. They're different than they were 40 years ago. I think that, just in general, they know how important it is to be at WrestleMania.
Right.
Like that's just...
when you're a wrestling fan, that's our
thing,
Super Bowl.
And I know... And you can catch crap for whatever I'm about to say. I don't really care. But there are some matches that I'm like, whatever, seen it already, don't really care. But you're there. You're soaking that in. And the closest we've been to WrestleMania is WrestleMania Access when we went the year that...
it was in Orlando.
It was in Orlando. And that was the year that the Hardy Boys came back. And there's something palpable in the air that year, just in general.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. That was a fun time too at Access. If you ever have a chance, if WrestleMania is in your town, go to Access. It is basically an interactive wrestling convention.
Well, and you can feel the energy that everybody has being there, and they're excited to be part of that, and they're excited to be, ready to witness the show.
They have live NXT matches,
and they have NXT matches you can go to, and I think that that's just, that builds the excitement.
Yeah, remember when we walked by that we didn't do the line because the line was long. They had the Hell in a Cell.
Mm-hmm.
Not the Hell in a Cell.
No,
the Elimination Chamber.
And the cool thing is you can also feel it in the indie shows that are happening around town. Because
every company follows WrestleMania.
Like there's WrestleCon, and then there's and then that year the parties had their broken barbecue or whatever it was called. And so,
they brought indie guys there.
They brought a whole bunch of indie guys, and there was a whole day. It was like a festival of indie wrestlers just, out there putting on a show for every single person. And you could meet the Hardys, and you could, have barbecue and eat and drink and be merry. And
that was I remember it wasn't expensive either. I'm trying to remember how much it was. It covered the food and the live wrestling and the autograph.
No, it didn't.
Did it? I thought
I paid extra for the autograph.
Okay.
I paid extra for the picture with Jeff Hardy. But in general, really, it wasn't. No, actually, we were invited. And I think we got some sort of discount.
Oh, that's right.
Or we got an admission was I don't know. Somehow we got there, and which I don't care because it was awesome. But I think there's that excitement. I mean, the same excitement that follows the Super Bowl is excitement there that, they're super excited. And some of us are like, ugh, this match was stupid, or, it didn't pop as well as we thought it would be. But, having been to those events and kind of still having that fire, when we came home and we watched WrestleMania that night and the Hardys came out, and that, there was still that that feeling. You could still feel it here because we had been there. So I think that they're looking for that. They're looking to rekindle that, and it's the same thing with movie theaters. We're all looking to rekindle that normalcy in our lives. How do we manage this coming out of a pandemic for a year, but not be stupid? How do we not do dumb stuff because we're excited? Essentially.
Exactly.
And I think that that's what it comes right down to, is how do we not do stupid stuff because we're excited?
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's why we just didn't buy tickets this year, because I don't know that, aside from the fact that I have to work the next day, but I don't know. I think that everybody's trying to figure it out.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about some TV. We talked about The Rock. So we've been watching Young Rock. You want to explain how much you love this show? Okay. Which is, it's a bit factual mixed in with a bit fiction.
I think it's hilarious. I think it's funny because it's told in real time. It's his bid for the presidency. He's chose his running mate. He has done all that.
Yeah. What did they say that takes place in 2032?
It takes place in 2032. So, and then Rosario Dawson is his running mate. So that's just even better. So, so let's have two beautiful people running our country. Thank you very much. But then it's told in flashbacks, and it's so interesting to hear him tell stories about his childhood. And it's so nice, I guess, to see those people again. It's nice to see, somebody acting like Randy Savage, and it's nice to see somebody acting like Andre the Giant. It's, we know they're not them, but
the Iron Sheik.
There's just this is this really what it was like to grow up in a wrestling family? Because you think that it's all Ric Flair, everybody has a million cars and gold Rolexes and everybody's rich, but Rocky Johnson wasn't rich. They scraped, and they really had a tough time. And he talks about all the things that he did when he was a kid that were stupid. And, and he was really honest about that. And I think that it is really what our country needs right now, is to hear somebody say, like, yeah, I did dumb stuff when I was a kid, and let me be honest about all the dumb stuff I did when I was a kid. But let me be honest with you about what it's like growing up in America, to hardworking parents that care. And I think that is probably why it's held my attention for as long as it is with all
It's
this
hilarious
stuff,
too.
with all this stuff that you could watch. Like, it was funny. This last episode that we watched was about there's a Greg Yao is the other promoter aside from The Rock's grandmother. That's the promoter in Hawaii. And so he's trying to like recruit her talent and steal them from her. And so she sees him. They're having a tournament in Hawaii, and it's going to be for Peter Maivia's championship. And he's putting the belt on the line. It's a battle royale, and Rocky's all set to win it, right? But she sees him at the restaurant with Yao and assumes that he's been poached. And she's like, how could you how could you be a traitor? And so after he loses, she says, I saw you too. And he goes, did you know? So did you see what really happened? And so he told her, and she pretty much put her foot in her mouth. She really felt bad, but he walked away, and I was like, it tells life stories. Like, that's what I like about it, is it's like the whole episode revolves around a lesson, like a very human American lesson that you can live from.
Yeah. And each episode jumps around. So like sometimes it's when he's in high school, sometimes it's when he's like 10 years old.
Yeah. And he says they're talking about people with different viewpoints and people that live different lives. And he said, Andre the Giant taught him that day. It wouldn't take him to see E.T., but it ended up taking him to see E.T. at the end of the day, but took him to the park and talked to him about the pigeons and how there's a really big pigeon is the one that Andre would feed. And he is like, I understand this pigeon. He's living in a world that people just assume that he's greedy and because he's bigger, but maybe there's another reason. And so, he says it's all about whether the world is maybe the world, it's not that you're too big for the world, but the world's too small for you.
Yeah. You know what scene was really funny was when they thought Randy Savage was poached, and they break the door down, and he's really in visiting his girlfriend.
He's in bed with
at the time
it was Debbie.
Yeah.
Debbie. And so he gets out of bed, and he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And they have the blur screen, right there.
Because he's naked?
Because he's got out of bed. And he's like, it's good to see that she's like, happy birthday. It's good to see that you're spending her birthday with her. It renews my faith in humanity. And then she leaves, and I'm like, okay. And that's a very Randy Savage thing to do.
And he's
hey.
And then he's like, I need like 20, 30 minutes tops. Dig it.
It's kind of fun to watch that happen. And I'm sure they'll cancel it because it's something I like. So
I don't know. Will they cancel The Rock? I guess we'll find out.
No, I don't mean I mean cancel the show.
No, that's what I mean. Will they cancel The Rock? We'll find out. I mean,
I don't know. I haven't read anything about it.
Yeah.
It was clickbait on one of those articles that says they're the.
Oh, that was Ballers, which he ended like 2 years ago.
And I'm like, but it showed the picture of him.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, what? From that show. I'm like, you people are dumb. I hate clickbait.
Yeah. So let's talk about a few other shows we've been, following this season. What do you think of the new season of Resident?
Well, I've already said that I'm glad that they picked it up after, like, post-pandemic. I don't have to watch a bunch of people in masks after I've seen it all day. I do really love the fact that they're married and that she's gonna have a baby. I died when she got stabbed. Like, a part of me died. But when you care about the characters in a show, you kind of get sucked in and you care. So I like the direction they've gone with it. I like the stories they're telling. I like that maybe Deb will get help and not be a washout.
Yeah. What about the rookie?
The rookie is always funny. You can't go wrong with Nathan Fillion.
Yeah.
I really do like. I really did like the last episode that we watched where they were talking about. She gave him a question and.
Oh, when he had to take the training. Yeah.
He was taking classes so that he can be a training officer he has to have his degree. Yeah. And he doesn't have his degree.
Yeah.
So he needs his degree. So he's taken this class. And so he had to work late. So he didn't get to take a test. So he's like, what can I do to be able to earn a retake for this test? And so she gave him a question. And it's a scenario, and it deals highly with race,
which the season's been pretty much
really, really dealt very highly with, and I like that because it's saying something, but it's not preaching it to us like we've seen enough of.
Like, I mean, it's a police show, so you would think that it's a police show, so they're gonna kind of downplay. No,
I don't feel
they're
like
not making the police better. But they're not making.
No, but they're pointing out that there are problems, and that IA needs to be out there talking to these guys and like remediating issues that have happened. So this problem has been weighing on him, and he has got like 48 hours to figure out what it is before he goes and has to answer to this professor because it's like ethics. It's ethics in law enforcement or something.
Yeah.
And he gives her the best possible answer that he can, and he says, we have a responsibility to, do our job, and he says, but not to bother everybody else while we're doing it. And I think that was a really powerful way of saying it, is that he couldn't really give her. There was no real right answer. Because he can't just give her lip service about what he might do because it's what she would want to hear because she's an African American woman. It's that this is what would probably happen. He says this feels like you want to answer to a question that I couldn't possibly begin to ask or answer. And so we've watched some really great TV that's really kind of made us think. And thankfully not preach too much to us. Like, I think we watch TV that doesn't do that, which I'm grateful for. And
then I know we were kind of late to the party on this one, but Big Sky, which deals with the whole, which is based on a book that you were never aware of, but apparently the book's really popular.
And Big Sky
deals with human trafficking.
It talks about human trafficking, and it talks about police officers that are involved and, just kind of like.
Yeah. And this takes place in,
hiding
Montana.
It takes place in
Montana. That's why they call it Big Sky.
But I think that, I'm always interested in watching stuff that's different than what I've watched before. And I think we all together probably watch too many hours of TV in general, but I think it's a nice escape. And I think that's what it is. TV is an escape from our lives. It's jumping into somebody else's life because ours it's enough for the day. We talk about, I always talk about, there's always Extraordinary Playlist, but.
Which this last episode was really good.
Yeah. Again, died a little inside with that episode too, but the previous episode has a whole conversation about race and discrimination in the workplace and what that does and what happens when you're a bystander. If you don't say something, you're just.
Is that the first time that you've seen something? Like, I've never seen a TV show talk about racism in the workplace. I don't remember seeing it.
Not like that. Like the way they talked about it.
Has even like a Dateline or anything done anything like that? I've never.
I don't think there's been much of that.
But
No.
if you guys know,
What was it?
I would actually like to know, is there an evil, like even like real documentary about racism in
In the workplace?
yeah, Dateline or
I
any
don't
of those
know.
shows?
I'm sure they have. I'm sure they've talked about it. But when, and I think it was interesting when you do the research and kind of pay attention, it's like facial recognition, like I've said, their facial recognition software wasn't recognizing people of color.
Right.
And to pull in the kind of data that they did in that episode is like it actually true. AI cannot really decipher
Take it.
well, something about whatever it is. There's something about people of color's face that it can't recognize individual faces necessarily. It's not accurate. But I guess it depends on what face recognition software you're using, because to be completely honest, like if you put a picture side by side of me and my sister, there are similarities.
Oh yeah, Facebook always says
but Facebook will tag my sister in a picture that she's not in.
Yeah, it says that you are her.
That I'm her, or that she's me.
Yeah.
She's her and she's me. I am no one.
I think Skynet's drunk.
Go home, you're drunk, Facebook. But like personally, I mean, I can see there's certain things that are very similar between us, like, our chin and our nose, and maybe the space between our eyes, whatever they're looking for. I don't know what it is, but they pop up every time.
Yeah.
Not so much now. Like, I wonder if I've said it enough that people have noticed. They're like, oh, well, I guess they are two different people.
Oh, she has blonde hair.
Well, she doesn't anymore. I mean, she used to have blonde hair, but I don't know. But there was a really meaningful episode, and then this episode was an episode about recreating a memory she had with her dad, and then realizing that it really wasn't to recreate that memory; it was to build new ones. And it's like, I think when you lose someone like that, you realize that sometimes you can't recreate those same things. It's not meant to be to recreate the memory. It's to build a new one, and the old memory is a foundation to build new ones on.
Yeah,
because
there was two other topics that they talked about. The one with her brother, because he's pretty much burnt out of being the lawyer.
He quit being a lawyer. He's staying home full time with his son, his newborn son. So they had a whole thing where the teenage neighbor that's doing his jam, he's a 20 something, but doing a jam session with his band, and he came over and he played the keyboards for him, and he's like, so am I part of the band? And he's like, I thought it was a tryout. And kids are like, you're like 35. And he's like, if I shave, I look younger. And he's like, but what is it really about? He's like, you need a keyboard player. I'm a good keyboard player. Like, why does that matter? And so it kind of did talk about ageism and how if we want to reinvent ourselves, we should be allowed to, despite our age.
And he wanted to fit in. He loved music and playing keyboard.
Right. And so it gave him an opportunity to do something different and new and just feel like there's a fire again. I think that's important for all of us.
And then the other one they were talking about was when they went with Looking for Stars, or the about fitting in and friends and.
Yeah. Well, and he says it's creating those new memories with friends. That was the whole thing. Like, you're not a burden because you're dealing with this. We're your friends. Like that, you've helped us do things too. So it's our job to repay that favor. It's our job to be there for you, no matter what you're going through. Now, Mo didn't go, but Simon and Max and Leaf went.
And it was nice because we all know that they sing in this show. I mean, it's all studio recorded and they're dubbed, but they were actually singing. And
they were in the car singing the song.
So it was actually.
We love this song, and they all sang it together. So, and that was I think that was the whole point of the show, was to say, that's something that unites us is music. and friendship and understanding that we all have similar situations. And I think that is because they all come from, different places.
Yeah, the show's so diverse.
And diverse, diverse in lots of ways, like diverse in
like the cast
and gender and race and where people are from. And just the fact that you're pulling in all these people that are mega talented. Like, and then you're bringing in music, which is basically the soundtrack of all of our lives.
Yes. If you have not seen the show, do not sleep on
Check it out. Check it out. So it'll have a third season because just because all of my shows, when I love a show, it always gets canceled.
Yeah, well, speaking of shows that's probably never going to get canceled because it's very entertaining, let's talk about The Masked Singer. Season 5. Okay, we've been watching since the first season. Well, I knew about this because it started in South Korea.
Mm-hmm. But then it's everywhere now.
It's just like Idol. And
yeah.
It's everywhere.
X Factor, Voice, everything.
Everywhere.
So our thing is that we try to guess who it is. And so I truly suck at this. I truly
some
suck
of them
at this,
though. Some of them though, exactly, and
yeah, it's like that's so and so. So
like last season, like the owls, the snow owls.
Oh well, yeah, but you said it first, and I was like, hey, you're right. Because then as soon as you kind of gave me the idea, then I was like, yeah. Because then you could hear it.
Yeah,
I could hear it then.
With Masked Singer, it is so easy. Like, if you think you know who it is, you watch the episode and then YouTube that singer, but not like a studio song, a live performance.
Listen to a live performance.
Of who you think that person is.
You were trying to prove to me that the alligator... It was an alligator, right?
Crocodile.
Crocodile.
Whatever.
What's a crocodile? He's from Florida. It should be an alligator. Whatever. Anyways, that the crocodile last season was Nick Carter. And I couldn't hear it at first. I'm like, I don't know, Brian. Like, I wasn't on the bandwagon. But then he did, I don't know what song he sang, and I was like, never mind. That's him. And then you showed me a couple of YouTube, like things that were more in the style of what he was singing, and I was like, yeah, that's him. So it's hilarious because the whole Masked Singer people, there was a whole bunch of people on the thing that were like, you're wrong, and he's like, no, I'm not, I'm right. So this year or this season, we've been kind of paying attention, and so the first people paid up.
Well, I mean,
who was the first one gone?
The first one gone
was it Raccoon?
No, the first one gone. Was it the snail? Or was that the second one gone? The snail.
I don't know. The snail was Kermit.
Which was interesting that it threw us off. We were all thinking it was somebody else, but it was Kermit the Frog. So
which the voice of Kermit is hilarious because I'm like, I know that voice. And it's really funny because it was Kermit. Anyways. Speaks volume to how old I am, apparently. But it was Kermit and the snail. And then the raccoon was Danny Trejo, which like everybody's guessing all of these people. And I'm like, you guys are dumb. Like, listen to the voice. Like, he's not a singer. Like, you can tell. And then a whole bunch of people.
Yeah. The show is just fun.
It's just fun to watch.
I mean,
it is just fun to watch.
They have legit singers, and then they have people that can sing that don't
professionally, anyways.
Right? They could be an athlete or an actor,
and some of them are really good, and then some of them aren't.
Like, what about the surprise? What was it last season? The surprise was the former governor of Alaska who ran for president.
Palin.
Yeah, she was the panda, right? And she's saying "Baby Got Back."
It was hilarious. And the thing is they were like, well, that's, and you kind of know, because sometimes when they're going to get voted off, they do end up guessing the right person. But this past time, like, they didn't guess the right person at all. So people must realize we're now wise to them.
Danny
Trejo. And the last person, because I was like, I don't know, like, I don't know who this person was. Grandpa Monster.
Grandpa Monster.
And like, okay, I don't know anything about YouTubers, but they kept guessing. His brother, Logan. Was Logan Paul in the thing, right? So they thought it was Jake Paul because Jake Paul is his brother, right?
Hold on. I want to
I
say.
think it was Logan Paul was in the thing. He was like, "You for real thought I was my brother?" Because he's a boxer and a whatever. He's like, I like to sing. He says, I just don't sing because I don't feel like.
No, it was Jake.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Jake Paul.
It wasn't
It
Jake
was
Paul?
Logan Paul. It says Jake Paul's brother, Logan Paul.
Oh yeah, it was Logan Paul. Okay.
And so, like, I don't know. Like, probably the kids know better than I do, but I just don't have time to watch YouTube and stupid
I don't
shit.
follow them at all.
I don't follow dumb stuff on YouTube. Like, my experience on YouTube is my friends on HWWS Web Show and essentially fixing the toilet or putting together a lawnmower. That's essentially everything that I've done on YouTube. What is that?
I had messaged if somebody wanted to join us, but their messenger wasn't working right.
Oh, that's too bad.
It's all right. But yeah, Masked Singer, I mean,
it's fun.
It is very fun. Some of the people that got thrown off the last few seasons, like, nobody even guessed who they were. Like Dr. Drew.
Yeah. But, he was an eagle. And he was like a motorcycle eagle at that.
Yeah. What was the other one? Drew Carey. Nobody guessed. I don't think nobody guessed Drew Carey.
No, I don't think so. This season, though, it's kind of funny because
they're bringing in some
They're bringing a lot of different people in. Who was the snake last? The snake.
Oh, the serpent.
The serpent last season
was Dr. Elvis.
Was Dr. Elvis, and so we had spent like days and weeks.
I thought it was the guy
about
from
how it was Leslie Odom from Hamilton, and then finding out, and then as they were talking about it, and we kind of like listened to some of the other stuff that he was on, and we were like, yeah, okay, it's Dr. Elvis, but it's different people every time. I think that's fun.
Yeah,
it gives us a chance to just be entertained.
Yeah,
Do
you have a favorite so far that you like?
I
mean, I think you do, but I don't know if he's gonna make it to the end. And I know who he is, but the piglet.
Oh, we both know who he is.
Right. I don't want to say who he is because people might not want to know. Like, if you don't,
let's just talk about how hot it is.
Yeah, it's hot.
It
might be the hardest thing to do.
Oh.
You got that reference.
I did. But now I can't come back with one because I don't remember enough of the song titles to be able to do it. Yeah, so
I don't know. You just might be invisible. You're just not a man.
Oh, there's lullabies. I have the lullabies.
Oh yeah, there is lullabies.
So yeah. Anyways, the other person that is the seashell because I really want to know who that is. Like, who are they? Are they saying the black swan is JoJo? But
yeah,
I kind of feel like it might be, but they're saying that the seashell is somebody else, and I really think it's JLo. But I'm not 100% sold yet. I got here seeing some other stuff.
Yeah, because on the Masked Singer, it literally could be anyone. They're not just getting like D-list celebrities.
Right, no, they're everybody and their brother. The Russian dolls, though, the other thing is, like, I think that people are talking about it being Hanson, and you think it's Hanson, right?
It sounds like Hanson.
It sounds like Hanson, but there's like, well, there was 3 of them. Well, there was 2 of them. Then there were 3 of them. Now there's how many? Are there still 3?
There's still 3, but
they were
said
talking
wait
about
until there be a
somebody
4th.
got sick or whatever, or had an accident or died or something. Like I don't see the reference there, but I don't know. So there's always been 3 brothers. There's 3 brothers in the band, but there's 4 brothers. So it's a good possibility that the one that's not famous from being in the band could join them. But we'll see, I guess. Right. Shut up. You are the most annoying when we're doing this show. The other children have figured out how to be quiet. Why can't you? You're not starving. You're not dying.
But yeah, while we're talking about this, let's talk about the judges. Ken. Oh my God, he's
Ken in particular.
Ken.
I
mean, then there's Jenny and
Nicole and Robin. I think they have a good chemistry. I wouldn't ever want them to change.
And then, like, the guest host. That
I do enjoy Niecy Nash as the guest host. I miss Nick Cannon, though. Like, I just think he's fun.
Yeah. And then the guest judge that usually comes on every now and then, Joel McHale.
Which everybody thought he was the Cludle, whatever the hell, the rooster that's giving the
extra clues.
Which Cludaloo, whatever that is.
I'm waiting for Ryan Reynolds to come on the American version, because he came on the South Korean version when he was promoting Deadpool. He was dressed as a unicorn.
Oh, he actually sang?
Yeah, he actually sang. He sang the Annie song, "The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow."
And then he got voted off? Or was he a wild card?
No, he was like a guest singer. He wasn't part of the competition.
Okay. I think that would be funny.
It's actually a special feature on the Blu-ray Deadpool.
I enjoy the show. I enjoy guessing, and I suck at it, but I enjoy it anyways. What else should we talk about? We don't have to go 2 hours.
No, we don't have to go 2 hours.
People don't need to listen to us for 2 hours.
You got anything going on?
What's new? So my episode of Drunk Comics with
Kelly,
the Phoenix Sisters cosplay, and their Drunk Comics came out this past week.
Yeah.
I've gotten into some further discussions on Facebook with other people who are not in education. So I guess here's my PSA. Okay. In Florida, specifically the county I'm in. Okay. I am contracted for 185 days. This is how this works. So I'm contracted for 185 days. I get paid for an entire year. Now, contracted time means that I go in at 8:20 and I leave at 4:05. However, nothing I do entirely outside of school is ever paid for. So any lesson planning, any grading, any extra things that I have to do for my classes are not paid. So if I was really good at what I do, I suppose I could cram it all into those days. But with kids with severe learning disorders and behavior disorders and all these other things that I'm contracted to do during my time, I don't have time to do that within my day. And my 47 minutes of planning time twice a week is PLCs and planning, like collaborative planning, where we meet. So that's 3 days a week. That's just grading and whatever. And 47 minutes isn't enough it takes longer than 47 minutes. I also am contracted for the 185 days. And if they so choose not to renew my contract, I am then responsible to find my own job. And if I'm not reappointed twice, then I'm technically fired. So that's something, as well as everybody who assumes that we get paid and I get free health care and that somebody pays my retirement. I pay in $180 or $190 every month into the Florida retirement system, the FRS. as well as the $50 that comes out of my check every month into my 403B, of which I will still not have enough to retire when I'm 70, and I will still be paying back my student loans. Thank you very much. I have 2 degrees. I have a bachelor's degree in education. I have a master's degree in education, and I wrote the 60-page thesis that includes that. So therefore, people, I would like to be treated like a professional because I actually am. I know my pedagogy. Along with actually teaching the subject, I know a lot of things about kids in general, specifically middle school level, but pretty much anything as far as education is concerned. Wherein I also act as their mother, their teacher, their nurse, their psychiatrist, their confidant, their pick one. I wear about 8,000 hats during the day, of which I have been told that I should teach them respect as well. Now, here's my deal. If you've ever met a 13-year-old, anybody, I'm just putting this out there. If their parents have not taught them respect by putting the fear of God into them, then there is not a damn thing I'm going to do to make that happen. As well as taking the hit as far as their test scores on my evaluation. If a child is not learned and does not come to school to be a decent human being to learn, and they don't give a jack crap about their test, then that reflects on me. Oftentimes, kids, when they're 13, have to like you in order to give a crap about what you're doing. So there's that. I do pay for my health benefits for myself and my 2 dependents. I pay $500 a month. That's my really crappy insurance and my really crappy dental and my really crappy vision, as well as the prescription coverage that basically covers nothing. So after I pay the $500 a month, I have another $100 every month taking out of my account so that, or out of my paycheck pre-tax, so that I can put it on an FSA card and pay for those said copays that are $50 every time I go to the doctor. Pays the 20% of all dental work that needs to be done. So it pays the 20% of the recent removal of my child's teeth, which is, and all the other work that he has to have to do with pulpectomies and all these other things that are dental terms I don't know. That's $1,100. So yes, it did save me some money, but I still owe them $185 this last time. I will owe them $190 next time. And then after my benefits run out, the third time that he has to go see them, it will be another $1,100 because we will have no benefits. That's one. 2, my EpiPen costs $100 a pop, and that's my copay. My son's monthly prescription for growth hormone costs $80. That's his copay. And then it varies between $8 and $108 for whatever you might need to be prescribed. So, well, a lot of people just assume that I get 8 weeks off in the summer and I'm a free agent and I just get to do whatever. Yeah, that's true. I do get 8 weeks off in the summer. And during that 8 weeks, I'm working my second job nearly full time so that I can continue to keep a roof over my children's head and pay for whatever they might want to do that summer so that we're not just sitting at home and doing nothing. So, well, you can sit here and talk about how much is enough. I want 2 things. One, I want to be treated like a professional with two college degrees. I want to be treated like a professional that goes in and does her job every day, as opposed to the people who don't. 2, I do want to be paid like I am a trained professional with 2 degrees. So look around. Other places where they have a master's degree, what is their going rate at a private company? Because if I went into private education, that wouldn't even be a thing. I'd make less than I do in public education. Governor DeSantis, I appreciate you thinking of the new people coming to the profession. You know, they can make their $45,000 to $50,000 a year. But here in this state where I am still at a freeze as far as pay raises, and I have not been given a step raise in the last 4 years I've been here in Florida. I'm just putting that out there. I'm just saying that somebody with no experience is getting paid more than people with 16 years of experience. And if you think that's fair, that's fine. But 16 years of experience, we are the people that are going to keep those wonderful new teachers heads above water, when in the first 3 years we lose more teachers than ever considered. So that's my soapbox, and I understand that I probably just sound like a big crybaby, but I'm tired of people assuming that they know a lot about what's happening to my paycheck, and you have no clue. I pay for my benefits. I pay for my 403B. I pay for my retirement. I'm putting the money into that. So when, yes, I make this amount of money, they take $1,200 out of my paycheck every month when it comes right down to it, between the things that I have to pay for. So I don't really want to hear it anymore. If you work in the private sector, your company does what they need to do, and then you're protected in other ways too. So that's the private sector. The public sector is completely different. But when someone is on the news and they're a teacher and they've done something wrong, then you look at the rest of us like we've all done something wrong. And I'm kind of tired of that. Like, I'm sorry, I am not grooming your 13-year-old to be anything but a good human being someday. I don't want to spend extra time with them. I sometimes feel like they're the most insane people on the planet. They're nuts. And while I love them and I love my job, middle schoolers are crazy, and it is not an easy job. And if you think you can do it better, pay the money and put your degree to work and sub in these schools, because Lord knows we need you. We need good substitutes to come in and watch our children and be the glorified babysitter for $100 a day, which is a tragedy as well, because substitute jobs are some of the most difficult jobs too. So before you start talking about my job, just keep in mind, there's a lot you don't know. And you don't know because you don't work it. And granted, private sector people, I guess there's a lot I don't know either.
Right. But
this 97% tax foot, whatever that is, I don't know what that is. When I get my paycheck, 35% of my check is held back to pay taxes every single month. My tax bracket is 35%. That's what they withhold. 35%.
Wow.
So I don't know who this 97% tax foot thing is doing. It's not helping me. I can pay $1,000 in rent, but I can't get anybody to finance me to have a house. I don't own my car. I rob Peter to pay Paul at the end of the month. I mean, yeah, we do things. We buy things. We do things. But what if I don't do that, what am I doing? I'm not living life then. I'm just working. So,
yes.
I'm sure there will be a smattering of things in the comments that I don't want to read because you know nothing about education, but I'm the crybaby, which is fine. That's fine. That's fine. It's fine. Yeah. It's fine.
So does it help to find out why Funko hasn't released Pietro yet?
No. Pietro doesn't exist.
Oh, Pietro doesn't exist.
That's Ralph Boner.
Ralph Boner. He's stuck in the Suez Canal.
Maybe.
Somewhere on the ship.
How does that happen?
I don't know. But that was crazy, right?
Okay, my kids give me a hard time and talk about how bad of a driver I am. But really, I've never done that. Like, how bad of a driver do you have to be that you can't go through the Suez Canal?
How do you get a boat stuck?
I mean, okay, boats are not easy to drive. That's why I don't drive one. I'm confused.
Maybe the driver was looking for PHO.
There we go. See? He thought he saw him. He thought he'd follow. That must have been what it was.
Yeah. So one more thing that we've been watching that we need to get caught up on because the last episode.
After my diatribe on education, I'm sorry. Yes, we haven't watched the last episode.
We can see how much it.
However, I did very much enjoy last week's episode with the couples counseling. I very much enjoyed it.
The eye staring contest.
She was like, "Are you having a staring contest?"
So since last week's episode's already aired, let's talk about that scene. The scene that you just talked about, where Bucky. It looks like it almost brought tears to your eyes when they were having that exchange, and he says about why did you give up the shield and all that, and then Bucky says, "Well, if you don't exist, then I don't exist."
Well, and I think it was about people realizing where people stand on that. Like he needed to understand why Falcon didn't take the shield. And Falcon, I think, had to see it from the other perspective of why Cap gave him the shield. Like, and that show talked about racism too, which is really weird. We seem to be having a lot of these conversations, which I think it was really well done there too.
And police profiling.
Talked about racial profiling. It talked about I didn't know who you were because you didn't have your gear on or whatever it was.
Oh, I didn't recognize you without your goggles.
Without your goggles, that's a point of contention. I think that's maybe why, and that could potentially be why AI can't visually understand why people look the way they do.
Yeah.
I guess for most of us, that are Caucasian or lighter in pigment, I think we all look a little different because of the color of our pigmentation. I wonder if that's not a thing. But there are just as many shades of people of color as there are of us. So I don't understand why it's a thing. They don't all look the same.
So before we end the show, do you want to say something about Johnny Walker? You always want to say something about Johnny Walker.
Oh. Okay, well, I posted on my Facebook page, and my son just got his first real barbershop haircut. Barber shop. I should have done what Hennessy does before his show. Barbershop haircut, and I don't know if I'm taking this well, but at 10 he looks all grown up, and I'm kind of sad because now he has this beautiful profile and he's learning how to take care of his hair, and I'm really sorry that his hair is my hair, and I will forever apologize to my youngin'. Can we show off your hair?
Or used to be your hair, because your hair's not like that.
Oh yeah, it's not like that now, but I have had lots of children. You have a neck cramp.
Yeah.
So never mind the fact that he doesn't have a shirt, because he's never wearing a shirt. But look at this young man's profile. He has shaved to his head, and he, lifted and really gave him a little fade.
The guy that did it was really
So
cool.
handsome. His name is Johnny Walker.
Yeah, that's the whole funny thing, because I was like, guess what his name was? Because on the back of his shirt it said Johnny, and when we got the receipt, it said
Johnny Walker. It's hilarious. So his name was Johnny Walker. There's a student at my school whose name is Jimmy Beam. So where's Jose Cuervo? I need to know where.
So
Johnny and Jose.
You had to laugh about Johnny Walker because you don't like the character Johnny Walker.
Oh my God.
Well, John Walker.
John Walker. And you know what I love? I love the fact that he's cool. I love the fact that... He was
also very mad because someone called him in the middle of my hair getting cut.
Yes. He was talking to probably a family member or something. He said, I have a client. I can't talk to you right now. But yes, it was enjoyable, and he is very proud of his haircut. And when we go back the next time, hopefully we'll continue to teach him how to control his mane. But yeah, he is quite proud of his haircut. And to the little brat who told him his forehead was big, bite me. His hairline is far back. Leave him alone. There. That's a message. That's our PSA. Be nice, damn it. Don't pick on a kid because he has a big forehead. You don't know. Do you like that, Bright?
I think we should ring the bell and call it a day.
Ring the bell and call it a day.
Well,
eat some ravioli.
And eat some ravioli.
Yeah, I'm eating ravioli.
Ravioli.
All right, let's ring
Chef
the bell.
Boyardee.